My name is Maurice Perry, and as the president of the board of MICASA, I am pleased to welcome you all to the Welcome Home event for Genesis community members. The Genesis Intergenerational Community in Ward 4 is the first implementation of the Generations of Hope model in DC. It will bring together people across generations, seniors, and young families with a unique opportunity to provide support to one another. At a time when affordable rental housing is quickly disappearing throughout DC, seniors on fixed income and young mothers aging out of foster care are faced with limited housing choices and particularly are at risk for homelessness. Genesis fulfills so many of the district's commitments to its residents, proving that we can be age-friendly and intergenerational city, providing for families stable, affordable housing, and most importantly, a place to call home. Now it's my pleasure to recognize and introduce one of the strongest supporters of the Genesis Intergenerational Housing Program, the Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody. And welcome to Ward 4. And welcome home. I am really honored to be here to help celebrate the opening of this project and welcome new Ward 4 residents to really what is one of the most prime pieces of real estate anywhere in Washington, D.C. You are going to be able to witness the transformation of Walter Reed right across the street, and it's going to be pretty spectacular. As I start to talk, it's also a real arc in this project represents a lot of my public service in Washington, D.C. When I became the Ward 4 council member back in 2007, I don't know if anybody remembers what was here. Anybody? Yes. Who remembers? Tell me.
There were two white nursing homes, and they tore it down, and it became this property.
It was 2 burned down bungalows, is what it was, that had been burned down in a blight on this street for too long. And that is really, these 2 properties inspired what I thought was my responsibility as the ward council member, is that the city should help eliminate blight and vacant property and make sure that we were a part and a partner to turning blight and vacant property into housing. We bought those buildings, we tore them down, we worked with the community to put together a plan to put it out to make sure that we could attract a partner that would help us with our mission to turn vacant and blighted property into a place where families, senior citizens can call home. And that's what we have here. So I am delighted to have been there at the beginning and to be here now to celebrate this opening. I too want to acknowledge all of the people that made this happen, from the Deputy Mayor's office, Brenda Donald, who I know wanted to make sure this model happened in DC, in this region, and to put the resources together, whether it came from this agency or that agency or the other, because that's what it takes to create affordable housing in the district, innovative financing and very creative people. So please help me acknowledge Brenda Donald. I also want to acknowledge our Child and Family Services Agency, who over the years has made sure that all the children who come into our care are not only well cared for, but have a pathway out of Child and Family Services and into an independent and productive life. And what is so key to them being able to gain independence is having stable, quality housing for themselves and their families. So Raymond Davidson is our director, and there he is. Raymond, I want to thank you for your leadership of Child and Family Services and seeing this project through. And I think we have 8 units here, and we could probably use 80 more someplace else. So we want to use this model as a springboard to thinking about affordable housing all over the city. I want to also recognize Polly Donaldson, who is our DHCD director, who has to put a lot of the money together, and of course, our housing authority for your partnership with us as well. Now, I know that Mi Casa is maybe the most excited organization here, who they put together a wonderful proposal, submitted it to the city, worked with the neighbors here in Tacoma, and now today get to celebrate delivering these units. And this is really a genesis for this site. 27 affordable housing units, a model that helps young mothers, a model that uses the experience, energy, and talents of senior citizens to bring together a very unique community here in Washington, which contributes directly to our age-friendly purposes. And I hope you get a chance to look at the new age-friendly report to see how we're doing in the District of Columbia. This Generation of Hope project, and I want to thank Generation for Hope for their support. It brings together service-minded seniors with vulnerable youth, so keep the youth on the right path. It offers a community space, creates space where residents will learn from one another. The premise is simple. There's so much that older and younger people can learn from each other, and this new community gives them the opportunity to do it right here at home. The model has worked in Illinois and Oregon, and we're excited to bring it to DC, first ever in the district and first ever in this region. So I want to congratulate again all of the partners, our government partners, our development partner, all the men and women who worked on constructing this building. And I want to congratulate the families on your new homes. And I know that you're going to have all of the support that the Ward 4 community provides. And I know that your council member is going to be here to make sure that happens. Thank you very much, everybody.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the work that you did before and after, and the support for Mi Casa. Also, I want to invite the council member to come to the podium, and if he wants to say some words here, and before we give it the key to a resident.
Got it.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brandon Todd, and I represent Ward 4 on the Council of the District of Columbia, and thank you. And I couldn't be more excited than to be the council member that can open a brand new building with affordable housing that supports seniors in the District of Columbia and young families. And I want to commend you, Mayor Bowser, and the leadership of your administration for having a laser focus on how we can keep seniors in Ward 4 in the District of Columbia who can help to support young families in Ward 4 and the District of Columbia. I'm very fortunate to represent the second highest numbers of seniors in the whole city. So anytime we can provide safe, reliable, affordable, prime real estate housing in Ward 4 is always a good thing. And anytime Ward 4 and the district can be a leader in our region on how we can integrate communities and families together, I'm always very happy to support. So congratulations, Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Donald, Director Donaldson, Mi Casa, and to the 27 new families that will call the Genesis home. Thank you.
Now, I think I want to invite back to the podium so we can give it the key. But meanwhile, I want to thank everyone that's here because Mi Casa couldn't do this work without your support. We came with the idea, and the idea was took a while to develop, but thanks to my staff, especially to Ellen, who came one day to me and say, I have this idea, and I want to submit this proposal. And let me tell you, I was scared at that moment, but I say yes. I say yes. We go because this is a new adventure for Mi Casa. This is something that we start. We never did. We normally we do co-ops and single, and we are plain developers. Now we are in a different area. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be able to do this kind of services to our community. I think this is a future, and this is a need in our community. And I want to thank again you, because you were here with us before you were mayor, when you were council member of Ward 4, and now you are here to support us again and see the result of our work. Now, we think that we need to give it this key to some residents.
I think we have. All right.
Hey.
Yes.
I'd like to give a little background on how this project came about. In January 2014, Mikasa was part of a team selected through a competitive process under a DC Generations Initiative planning grant made to Generations of Hope by the DC Child and Family Services Agency. The goal was to develop an integrated model of housing and social support where multiple generations would live together and commit to supporting one another. The initiative was led by CFSA with an advisory council comprised of the DC Office of Aging, Department of Housing and Community Development, Generations of Hope, and other partners. The team selected to develop the project included Mikasa, the Latin American Youth Center, and Vida Senior Center. At that time, Mikasa had recently broken ground on land awarded by the Office of the Deputy Mayor on Planning and Economic Development to develop an affordable rental building. We worked with architects to redesign it to integrate Generation of Hope's intentional neighborhood model with Mikasa's approach to affordable housing. The result, less than 2 years later, is what we are celebrating today. While Genesis is the first affordable rental project of this type, Mikasa has developed the model in a natural extension of focus on empowering people to have a say over the direction of their lives. Just as Mikasa champions community-driven development and resident-governed cooperatives, Mikasa will empower Genesis residents to shape the direction of their community. The building reflects Mikasa's focus on community building with common space on each floor, as well as activity rooms, a community kitchen, and library where seniors, parents, and children will come together. Community space extends outdoors. You can see outside of the tent and play and picnic areas where residents would gather. The building also reflects Mikasa's commitment to the environment. It is Energy Star certified, and as you look around, you'll see some of the features, from pervious pavers in the parking lot where we're sitting to offset stormwater runoff to energy efficient, individually controlled heating and cooling systems in each unit. I'd like to now introduce Ms. Jamaica Wilson, a young parent and Genesis resident, to tell you her story.
How you doing? My name is Jamaica Anderson, and I'm a resident here at Geniuses. I'm a little nervous. I guess I didn't expect all these people. Okay. So I say hello. My name is Jamaica Anderson. I'm a member here at Geniuses. Geniuses is defined as the new beginning for myself and my little children, Azari and Abu. When applying to Geniuses, I knew that I was the best candidate because my career as a nursing assistant has helped shape me to believe that I'm a people's person and that I love helping others. So far, living here at Geniuses, I had the pleasure of meeting people from different backgrounds and cultures. A few of the seniors had a chance to sit down and hear my story about how my one-year-old son changed my life tremendously. At that moment, I knew that I was in the right place. I found that me and seniors shared similar testimonies despite our different age groups. As for my children, they're much more happier. They have Bonnie, who pushes them around in her electric wheelchair. And they have Ernie, who has embraced the responsibility of teaching them about their African culture and the principles and morals about being African children. It is my hope that I continue to impact the lives of others and my younger children embrace the love, support, and laughter as they grow into adulthood. I would like to thank Mikasa, John and Wendy, and my personal favorite, Child and Family Services, for everything that they have done for me. That's it.
Thank you, Jamika. The Genesis intergenerational community would never have been possible without the vision and initiative of Deputy Mayor Brenda Donnell. Director Donnell saw in the Generations of Hope the opportunity to simultaneously address two critical issues facing DC residents: young mothers aging out of foster care and the need of a supportive community and an aging population in need of a place to call home and invest their time. As director of the DC Child and Family Services Agency, Director Donnell spearheaded the DC Generations Initiative, bringing together leaders that cut across agencies and sectors and sparked the light that led to implementation of the first generational community in DC based on the Generations of Hope model. Deputy Director Brenda Donnell.
Thank you so much. You've heard about how this came about, why it came about, the steps that it took, the vision, and the commitment of everybody. It's like this was a vision, and then it was a dream, and now it's a reality. But the real reason is Jamika and Miss Bonnie and all of the other people who are part of this community coming together in a way that we could only imagine when this idea was brought to the table. There's so many of us who believed it was the right thing to do because we wanted better lives for Jamika and the rest of our young moms who are in foster care, who are going on, who we know are going to be the future. And Jamika, thank you, and you embodied that so beautifully. And Miss Bonnie and Mr. Ernie and Miss Jessie and other seniors who've said, this is going to change my life, but who signed up to do this, to be part of what this is not a project, this is not an apartment, this is a community. And Director Todman said, yeah, you're like a proud mother. I am, and I'm overwhelmed because it's just playing out in ways that we thought it would 2 years ago. I have to thank, there's so many people who are part of this, and some you'll hear from, some you've already heard from, but I really got to single out a few people, and if you'll bear with me, and I won't get everybody, but I know I'm going to get the people who are heart and soul of this, at least from our agency's standpoint, and just, I know there's confusion, Deputy Mayor, Director, and all that stuff. I started this when I was Director of CFSA, and so my focus was on our young moms. Then I moved into the deputy mayor role, and then I even had a stint as interim director of DC Office on Aging, so it's all my children. So I'm going to start with CFSA, and there's so many people at CFSA, and I don't care if you get mad at me that I don't single out everybody, but I'm calling on Alicia Gao, who is a heart, stand up, Alicia, who, she really is the mother of this project. But as the leader of our teen moms, our generations unit at the Office of Youth Empowerment, Sarah Thankachan. Come on, everybody, stand up. Everybody from OYE, please. They're the ones who believe this. Alex, Nadia, I mean, the whole team. And then DCOA, and I'm just so delighted that my former colleague and partner in crime sitting at the table in the early planning for this, John Thompson, former director, traveled up here from his new life in Atlanta. I see Camille, I see Daryl. Who else from DCOA is here? Come on, oh, this is Garrett, of course. Please. So everybody really had to come together and make this work because they believed in it. And we will still be involved as your members, as your partners, as your resources, as you go forward. I talked to a couple of seniors last night, and they said, okay, we're in the honeymoon, And so they get it, because this is a family forming and a community forming, and there are going to be fits and starts and bumps and bruises. But a family stays together and works through it, and to the extent that we can be helpful, we will. And Mark Dunham, Mark's going to talk to you in a minute. Mark Dunham is awesome. See everybody? Mark is the make it happen guy who could translate Brenda Earhart's vision into a possibility here in DC. And Mark, we're going to try to do a few more generations in DC. So thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Wow, you stole a couple of my lines here, so this is going to be shorter than otherwise might have been. First off, I'm with Generations of Hope, which is based in Illinois, but one thing you should know is I'm a 30-year DC resident. Just had my 30th anniversary last year, and hard to believe. I came here as a young idealistic guy to work over on Capitol Hill in the Senate, and I've never been more idealistic about what's happening in DC than right now. And that's a nice thing to be able to say. And so much of it has to do with the leadership here and the kind of groups that have arisen out of the district to do good things. First and foremost, Mi Casa. I want to say a special thank you to Fernando for developing the kind of organization that not only does beautiful projects, come on, give it up. It's one thing to be able to do a great, good-looking, affordable housing. Actually, it's a lot harder than you think, but they do it well. It's another thing to have an organization whose values and whose mission really translates into this notion of community capacity being where it's at. And we had a competitive process to select, with CFSA's guidance, the team that was going to develop this project. And we had a lot of great teams that applied. And Mi Casa not only had a great project in the making here at 6925 Georgia, but they got it. They really got it. And you see it in this building, you see it in the residents who are here, and so it's been a real pleasure to work with you all. I'll make very quick work of this as well. We're just grateful to the agencies that stepped forward to make this happen. Adrian Tobin and I had a conversation about this, probably 4 years ago when we were just really starting this, and so it's great to see you here, and thank you for housing making this happen. DHCD's never had a better director, in my estimation, than Polly Donaldson, who has been indefatigable in her support of this model and making it happen here in DC. So thank you, Polly. This is an easy model to like, right? What's not to like about seniors coming together with young families and supporting one another? On the other side of that simplicity is a lot of complexity. And all we have is a model that's philosophy and principles. The execution of it, the adaptation of it, relies on a team of people to actually make it happen. Otherwise, you just get a guy up here talking about it. And so this team that's come together has really made it happen. The advisory committee members here, Louis Davis from ARP, DC is with us, and or Minta Newsom from LISC, thank you so much. And certainly Director Thompson, former Director Thompson, your role was really significant. We thank you. And then the planning committee members, just a shout out obviously to the CFSA folks. Can't say enough about the leadership that Alicia provided this project from the very beginning. Before there was a Genesis, there was Alicia. And she's going to be in my life a long time, I have the sense. And Kim Henderson was the other planning committee member who's not here today, but was a great help as well. But when the story of Genesis is written, and it will be written, and it will be exciting, it's really going to be a tale of two Brendas, right? Brenda Earhart, my colleague, was unfortunately stuck in Illinois through some really bad weather. She was so disappointed not to be with you here today. She is really looking forward to coming for a visit here, and I hope you all have a chance to meet her. She is an exceptional human being, and just a lot of fun too. And she believes heart and soul in this model, and that's what makes it happen. But the other Brenda is someone you know quite well, and that's the deputy mayor. There's a great biography of George Washington, came out several years ago by Flexner, called George Washington, the Indispensable Man. He was the father of our country. Well, you already took my line here, but really, this is the indispensable woman of Genesis, and she's really the mother of Genesis. So thank you, Brenda. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your seriousness. Thank you for your nonstop, tenacious demand for excellence, which can be a little exhausting sometimes to deal with. But wow, what a model of leadership. From Generations of Hope's perspective, we do this around the country, and we have never had the buy-in, but also, just as importantly, the direction from the agency level in a municipality like we've had in DC. I can't tell you how amazing it's been, and it's why this project has gotten up so quickly, less than 2 years. I'll just tell you, the trajectory for typical Generations of Hope projects is not this fast. A lot of it had to do with the fact that obviously there was already some plans for this terrific site, but it happened so fast because the city was engaged and these terrific partners were engaged. So that's not to be forgotten. Jane Rohde is an architect who helped make these plans for Genesis, along with another planning committee member, Beth Strickland, happen. And so I want to recognize Jane. She's in the back there today. She's a terrific architect, senior architect, and her fingerprints are all over this project. I'll just leave you with this. Brindy Hart, if she was here today, she would sit. She'd probably nod off during my comments because she really doesn't have a lot of use for a lot of yakety yak thanks. But she would be so fired up to be here and to be amongst people coming together, people owning their own futures, people asking things of one another and giving to one another, people who are not afraid to show their vulnerabilities, because let's face it, guys, we're all vulnerable, right? It's just a question of what we do with that vulnerability. And what you're going to do here, folks, in your home and in your community, it's going to be a small little dot on Georgia Avenue, but I have a circle, that dot, I have a vision for that dot growing into a circle, and that circle getting ever wider. And people are going to be paying attention, and you'll get a lot of attention for this, but most important is what you're going to do here to support one another. And we can't wait to see what you do. And we are so excited to be a part of this. I also just have to say in closing, we had a lot of folks interested in this project who would have loved to have been here today, who would love to be living in this project. We didn't have room for them. We had some terrific candidates who just from the luck of the draw did not get a space here. And so I think I think it's worth recognizing their enthusiasm for this idea, their aspirations for this kind of life themselves. And so our goal is to learn from this project, to really learn from it, to make good use of the investment that Director Davidson and CFSA and the other directors I mentioned have made in this project. We're going to make this a project that you can be, a community, better said, that you can be proud of. And we will work very hard to make sure your investment is warranted and the outcomes show the demonstrable proof that this is a great idea. So, most important though, Genesis residents, thank you for welcoming us into your home today. And we hope you'll have us back real soon. All right, thank you.
Mark, you almost brought me to tears, so I'm going to try not to. Hello, everyone. My name is Bonnie Duffy Page, and I am a Genesis resident. When I think of the word Genesis, I think how appropriate the name. It's the start and the beginning of something. Genesis happens to be the start and the beginning of the greatest book ever known to man, the Holy Bible. Although I've been a resident of the District of Columbia for many years, being a tenant of Genesis is the beginning of me learning to live in a new way, but in a way many of us had once lived in our various neighborhoods where we supported and cared for one another more like a family. I learned of the Genesis program through Mr. Watson at the DC Office of Aging. Then I went online and read about the concept, and the idea of living in an affordable and supportive type of community really appealed to me. But I thought I didn't have a snowball's chance in hell of being selected as a resident. But the more I spoke to the people who were partly responsible for the project, like Mark, Ellen, Fernando, Alejandro, Johan, Cheryl, Wendy, and John, the more at ease and the more hopeful I became. I thought of how I could be supportive and fit into a community like this, where I would be living in an environment in conjunction with seniors and young adults and their children, and all of us bonding together and supporting one another in our newly formed housing community. I've met, talked, and broke bread with most of my Genesis family. We're still in the honeymoon phase of this program, but we seem to be bonding together nicely with one another. I've had some deep, heartfelt conversations with some of the young people and found that many of us share similar stories, and other than the years that we were born, we have far more in common than I would have ever imagined. I'm known as grandma to most of the children in the building already. I've worked with young people in the past, and I helped to raise 3 grandchildren of my own. But I must admit that my 2 besties are my 20-year-old granddaughter, Diamond, who is amazing and slept many nights beside me during my recovery from 2 strokes. And my other bestie happens to be my 11-year-old niece, Princess, who keeps me abreast of how my smartphone works and requires this old girl to be savvy on texting jargon that young people use. These young people, my granddaughter and my niece Princess, not only love their granny and auntie, they seem to like being around me. Now, I have nothing against seniors wishing to live in an all-senior environment, but I just know that's not what I want for my senior years. I'm always one for saying, I can live anywhere, but I much more prefer living in an environment where I feel I'm able to grow and to thrive. So that's why I believe Genesis' way of life is a right fit for my senior life. I have a wealth of work and life experiences I can share with my Genesis family. I can be a listening ear, a voice of reason, or even a shoulder to cry on if need be. It is my sincere hope for my living here at Genesis is that I make a positive impact in the life of others, then I know my living will not be in vain. I am very grateful for this opportunity to be a member of the Genesis family, and I'd like to say thank you to Mi Casa, Generations of Hope, Child and Family Services, Mayor Bowser, and everyone involved or responsible for selecting me to be a part of the Genesis program. I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart.
This program would not have been possible without the Department of Housing and Community Development's willingness to take a risk and support this unique change in the development plan. DHCD's funding was essential in making this intergenerational community affordable to all participants and viable for the long term. Please welcome Director Polly Donaldson.
Good afternoon. Or are we, I think we're in afternoon now. Thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I will say that it's just a great day. For those of you who know the backstory here, like Deputy Mayor Donald, I was in another role a year ago, that as head of a nonprofit affordable housing organization that had been part of the conversation about Generations of Hope. And actually, so I know this model very, very well, and I truly do believe in it. And so the opportunity when I joined, when the mayor appointed me to the director of the Department of Housing and Community Development, this was one of the first things that crossed my desk, quite frankly, and I knew it. I knew the organization, Mi Casa, Fernando, and Ellen very well, and I knew that the fact that this was already a building in progress was going to be a benefit to making this happen. I mean, that actually was an unintended consequence, but it really did help make it happen, because part of getting new models ready and active and open is being able to do it with speed, and being able to not say, oh, what could go wrong, versus what's going right and what's going to make this happen. I'm going to get upstaged here, I can tell. Anyhow, let me just say, we were delighted to be able to put in $2.6 million out of the Housing Production Trust Fund. And as you know, Mayor Bowser's commitment to the trust fund is probably one of the strongest priorities in the administration this year. The $100 million that she proposed in the budget passed the council and is reality. Thank you. And indeed, you will see in each forthcoming year, including budget year FY17, which we're in the process of putting together, that there is again going to be that commitment to $100 million for the trust fund this year. So it's not a one-time only. And that, with help from a lot of folks, hopefully will pass the council and then become part of the pool of funds that don't fund the whole project. What the government and what we're able to do is to fund that which the private sector can't fund. And so there was a lot of private money that went into this, and I see there's a United Bank hat back there, so I know that there were a lot of financial folks. The list of foundations that contributed to this is really a testament to the ability of Mi Casa to tell their story and to build support for it. But I have to tell you that public money is what fills the gap and what helps bring the private money to the table, and why that 100 million figure is so important. And so I just wanted to emphasize that. The other major priority, in addition to preserving existing affordable housing that's in our city that may be at risk of disappearing, is looking at our vacant and blighted property. And this is a prime example of where the government can have a role in saying we can transform neighborhoods block by block by looking at where the vacant and blighted properties are, by acquiring them and then disposing them towards our policy priorities such as affordable housing. That kind of coordinated effort across agencies is exactly what this project also brought. And so I'm just really delighted to be able to do it. So again, congratulations to Mi Casa, to Generations of Hope, to everybody, and including all the government entities that worked on this together. And as I said, this was one of the first things I got to actually sign and support when I became director of the agency. And I'm terrifically happy to be here to celebrate with you all. Congratulations.
DC Housing Authority is playing a key role in ensuring the affordability of the project, providing rental subsidies, making the apartments deeply affordable, reaching seniors and families on fixed incomes below 30% and 50% of area median income. I'm pleased to introduce DC Housing Authority Executive Director Adrienne Todman.
All right. Let's bring this home. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank everyone who's been thanked. I want to congratulate everyone who's been congratulated. And I want to add to that the amazing team at the Housing Authority, my lawyers, my voucher assistance folks who really helped bring this home and did a lot of the hard work with the details. I'd like to thank my board for their leadership and agreeing with me that this was the kind of project where we would invest the Housing Authority's dollars. I'm proud to be here for two very distinct reasons. One, whenever I can bring affordable housing into Northwest, it's a good day. And it's a good day. And I'm very pleased to be able to do that. The Housing Authority's investment here will span over $5 million. We're going to be paying the rent. The rent that our families can't afford. The job of the Housing Authority is to back them up and to pay that rent, and that's our investment. And so we're very excited to do that. The second reason I'm really pleased to be here is I too am a product of what I'll call multi-generational parenting. So if your mommy and daddy didn't get you, then your auntie and uncle or your grandparents, somebody got you. Somebody got you. And what I like about this is that it really brings old school values to fore, which is it does take a village, it takes a community, it takes mommies and people of wisdom, people with years of wisdom to bring value to a child's life. And so thank you all, congrats, and let's keep moving.
Thank you, everyone. It's my honor to close out the program, and I'll keep this brief. I think it's clear to say that from everyone that you've heard speak today, it truly has, it has truly taken a community of partners to create this community. And in affordable housing development, we use the term partnership lightly at times, but I can't tell you how much the commitment, participation, being at the table for the planning, creating a strategy, selection of residents, developing the program, bringing the funds to the table at a critical moment so that we as developers of affordable housing could say, yes, we can do this. It's not completely out of this world to change our strategy and to move forward with a new strategy that will be a fantastic contribution to the residents of the District of Columbia. So thank you so much to everyone who's spoken so far. I want to quickly say some some special thank yous to people who haven't spoken, and I'll keep it brief because we have delicious food, and we have the community space open, and we have 3 apartments open for your viewing, so you'll have a chance to tour the community. Thank you so much to the residents for hosting this event as well. Latin American Youth Center and Vida Senior Centers started this process with us and developed a plan to create this intergenerational community. The Georgia Avenue Family Support Collaborative, maybe just raise your hand, show us who you are. Thank you so much. And of course, the fantastic team at Child and Family Services, we can't thank you enough for your contribution to making this happen. The DC Office on Aging, John Thompson, we all took a trip out to Portland together to visit Bridge Meadows and get inspired by seeing an actual intergenerational community that had been working for several years. And it was a phenomenal experience and a great experience also to sit around the table, and we told our background stories, how we all got here and got involved in this work. And I'd never had such a great partnership working with city agencies. Yes, it's time to stop and eat some food, clearly. ANC 4B, I don't know if anyone is here from the community. They were also phenomenal in supporting this project. United Bank, funders who were willing to say, change the development plan. Okay, sure, we can do that. Thank you so much for your flexibility, your willingness to wait till we had that DHCD commitment, but hold out there with us. DHCD obviously has been a phenomenal partner in taking this risk with us to go forward to, as Polly Donaldson's words reflected, how important this taking the risk, the benefits outweighed the risk. Certainly, we all saw that. I also want to thank some of our grant funders. LISC, or Amenta Newsom, is here. And Capital One. Philip Graham Fund, O'Neill Foundation. I'm not sure if we have anyone here from those organizations. E-Trade, Carolyn Ionita, who's joined our board. Is she around somewhere? Thank you. K. Fritz Foundation. And we had some great in-kind donations from Herman Miller, which was fantastic because we got to go to the showroom and pick out beautiful furniture for the community spaces. Politics and Prose came through with a special Book Angels donation program. So if you're doing any holiday shopping between Thanksgiving and the end of the year, you will get a 20% discount on your books, and they'll set them aside to deliver to the Genesis resident library at the end of the year. So Politics and Prose. The Center for the Study of Social Policy did a fantastic job with us, convening all of these partners to talk about outcomes and measurement of outcomes and how we were going to tell the story of this community once it came together. We had a fantastic development team also. Mikasa staff, I want to recognize. Everyone has participated in the development of this project. Every one of you has come to Genesis to assemble furniture. And our board of directors, who has Pettigay, Maurice, Carolyn, not sure who else is here, John, has supported us through this process. And we had a great development team. Michael Jones is the architect. Jan Kammemeyer is the general contractor. Martin Lucero of PML Real Estate. Everyone got really invested in this project so that even, along the way when we had some moments where we didn't know it was going to happen, the development team said, we're going to make it happen. We're going to hold off. We're going to develop the community space. We're not going to build it out as a 3-bedroom unit. We're going to make it happen. I also want to recognize the Genesis program staff, Wendy Jason and John Kemp. So if they could raise their hands, they have done a fantastic job bringing the building together to get it into a beautiful state to welcome the residents. And now I'd like to invite everyone to enjoy the graciousness of the Genesis community hosting us here today. Thank you all so much for coming.